Good evening, everyone. This is Controlled Chaos, resuming stories. Destinies. I can't seem to remember it halfway through the stream. I'll get it. Stories, Tales of Destinies. That's it. In any case, we somehow managed to retrace old steps, revealing that Lapino is a traitor. But this time we have help in the way of a truth finder. So now we should see a symbol that will lead to the truth. So this should speed things along. So let's head back into the temple towards the Iblis stone, I guess. So let's dive on in. Aha!
Ooh, what's there?
Oh. Ooh, what's this? Oh, elemental resistance.
This wasn't actually such a hard puzzle, come to think of it.
Okay. And I think one more bell and I'm there. Come on, get me past here. Oh no, there it is.
It was a stone of the purest blackness. It reflected no light, like a void made solid. Nervous, he picked it up. Who said that? It was the stone. Eager, thirsty. That seemed tempting and
there it is.
Terribly wrong. Zenobia was the Emperor's greatest general and a potent witch. But they had been close once, and Renato wasn't sure he really wanted to be Emperor. Why not capture the core of Skyrim instead? It was the eye of a lost god torn out by the transcendent Emperor to power his greatest weapon. "What's the core?" said the stone anxiously.
Okay. Well, I did this one last time, and I did not like the direction that went. That's why I backed out. So, to continue, I'll go this way instead.
The stone bothered him. He hated being told what to do. Wasn't that why he joined the rebellion? Wasn't that why he'd refused to be a soldier? He'd agreed to come on board only if he could freelance. The stone felt a bit clingy. The sage Calaveras had told him where to find the Sky Ripper, a weapon capable of challenging the gods. Even without its armature, the core would still possess great power. He would go there.
That would mean I would have the Eye of Iblis and the Sky Ripper's core. That sounds very unstable.
The moment he landed the Farfarer,
More unstable than...
Renato had a rare feeling of regret. It's not too late, he thought. He could turn around and sail for Zenobia's island. He frowned. Wait a minute. He didn't want to kill Zenobia, did he?
No way.
Sure, technically she was the enemy, but they'd been at Sword Food School together. They'd never been lovers, but somehow they'd been closer. She'd told him every secret about herself. Except the biggest one. That she was the Emperor's daughter. No. Kill Zenobia, whispered the stone. Before it's too late.
No way. Dear Zenobia, the director of the academy has told me how much he was impressed by your academic performance and leadership. You know, let's see, the session of bootlicking, sincere, those changes are not Alright.
Hey, is that a word for a lot of ravens? Like a doofus?
Murder. The word you're looking for is murder. I'm glad I've unlocked that time slow ability.
His sword food teacher used
Yay.
to say power gems were cheating. Stupid fart. You almost never saw wild gogglers together like this. The toads had to train them not to peck each other to death. So these had to be imperial gogglers. That meant ravens were up ahead. The stone hadn't lied about what it could do for him. With each raven he cut down, he felt a jolt of power flowing into his arm. "You're weak," whispered the stone. "The core will kill you." "Are you afraid of it?" Don't be ridiculous. It chuckled. But it's unstable. It will poison you if so much as carry it. And if you try to use it, it will explode catastrophically. Bernardo did not trust rocks that talked in his head. He went onwards. See? With enough leverage, you could go anywhere.
Yeah. Ah. Nice use of the joke. Yay! Ah! We're getting close. There it is.
As he approached the core, the stone became hysterical. No! It's too much power. We'll rip a hole in space and time. He had a sudden vision of plunging his gauntlet into the core and dying in anguish. That wasn't his vision, was it? The stone had sent him its darkest fears, hadn't it? He had a sudden impulse to do exactly that. He raised his right fist and plunged it into the core. There was a rush of light. He thought he could hear the stone screaming. And then he passed out. When Renato came to, the core was gone. But the Iblis stone was no longer black, but glowing with a blue light. And it was silent. "I can't hear you," he sang out. And, "You?" It didn't answer.
Ha!
"Ha!" he said. He had defeated the demonic gem with the power of his mind. He felt invincible.
I don't know about
It was
his
time
mind.
to attack the Imperial outpost on the Nexus. Take the battle to the enemy. But among the huge crystals, there was also an observatory. A wise man would probably ask the scientists exactly what he had first. How wise was he?
Yes, I would rather speak to these guys first.
As the Farfarer made its way toward the Nexus, Bernardo watched sparks fly out of the core. The Ibla stone sucked them in hungrily. You'd think the stone would want this kind of power, wouldn't it? Thought Bernardo. Well, the scientists would explain it all.
This time, Bernardo was sure he'd figured out how to use the core safely.
It seems more stable this time, but I'm not entirely sure. That's why I'm going to check out the scientists. Let's not overthink
He'd
this.
trusted his gut, and it had worked out. That's what it meant to be a hero. To ignore the naysayers and the oddmakers, and do what you knew was right, and have it turn out to be the right thing. Well, he wasn't worried. Once he got to the observatory, the scientist toads could explain it. Then he could carry the war into the enemy's camp and destroy them all. Oh dear, he was getting a little bloodthirsty, wasn't he?
Just a bit, yeah. Let's see.
This was way better than being able to shrink down to the size of an ant. What was that all about, anyway?
Uh-oh.
Kill the rebel! Caught one, Raven. Eat the rebel! Caught another.
Barely landed a claw on him.
Yep. Let's see what's in here. Alright.
Bernardo had never felt better in his life. Normally, a battle would wear him down.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he'd need a night's sleep. Now he felt like he could go all night and all day. He felt like people were cheering him on, and he could practically hear their applause as he slew one raven after another.
Yeah, just now
The
noticed.
fleet was closing in on the rebels, forcing them to come out and fight. Bernardo was itching to bring the fight to the enemy. He had to remind himself not to be too reckless.
Here we are again.
The toads at the observatory measured the stone with their occult devices. I fed it the core of Sky River, explained Renato. No more feed me blood and souls. But the core is not an unlimited energy source, said one toad. Another said, there's a feedback loop, you see, which could overload the stone. The
Right.
stone doesn't actually feed on souls, claimed the third. But on pain of killing another sentient being. If you can truly be at peace with yourself, it would not overload.
This was all
Huh.
very confusing. At peace? Yes, the mountains were peaceful and quiet, but he now had the power to turn the tides. He should report to the Rebellion Council and prepare for the decisive battle.
I say peace and quiet. Best be careful about
One
this.
thing he understood from all the toad arguments. Maybe the stone did not feed on blood, or souls, or rage. It fed on empathy. It fed on the pain he felt when he put an end to another being's existence. Even if that other being was a raven intent on killing him, if he could find peace. Then he could use the power of the Iblastone without being taken over by its evil. The mountains. He would go to the mountains. He could find peace there.
I'm liking this path so far.
Unfortunately, the mountains were not empty. There were ravens everywhere. No matter. He had to fight, yes, but he didn't have to be angry. Parry, dodge, slash, and breathe. Yes, focus on the rhythm, the dance of it, not on the blood or as they died. Ah, it was working. He wasn't feeling those dark jolts of eldritch energy. He wasn't feeding the Iblastone. The stone was still silent. His mind was his own, and his heart too. He bore them no ill will, these ravens. They were doing their job. They were expressing their nature. Dance, whirl, parry, jab, and breathe. It was all so simple, wasn't it? Something was missing. He didn't feel truly at peace. Wait. Wasn't this near where Calaveras lived? The sage would help him figure it all out.
Here we are.
The Iblastone, silenced by the Skyripper's core, had given Renato enough power to challenge the Imperial fleet. But what Renato was seeking was inner peace. The rebellion was on the verge of extinction, but it would have to wait.
Hello. Hello again.
At the end of the mountain path, he found the wise Calaveras in his workshop. Do you fix souls or only artifacts? He asked the sage. Does your soul need fixing? Asked the sage. I've been killing a lot of ravens lately, he told the sage. You're a fox, said Calaveras. To kill birds is part of your nature. You should take joy in it. I mean, I might as well worry about eating flies. Would you like a fly? It was true. That's what he had forgotten. The joy. Now he was ready for the final battle. The Farfarer cut through the clouds. The air had never felt so sweet since he was a child. There it was. The dreaded Imperial fleet. He could smell wet hemp ropes ahead, wood and tar, and ravens. Even the fleet smelt good, somehow.
How about that?
He was ready. He was ready.
All right.
Renato had it all squared away in his head.
He would kill the Emperor. Isengrim III had begun well, but he had gone mad. He was trying to invoke the lost gods by means of dark, blasphemous rituals. That was a secret. But the victims had spoken to Renato. The ghosts had spoken. No. No anger. Renato could not afford anger. It was empowering the crystal in his sword. That made him stronger, but it clouded his mind. He would not be a hero. A hero strives. Renato would just be one with everything. The Emperor would die, and the wheel would turn, and all would be restored without rancor, without sorrow, without pain. But the more he thought about it, and he had so much more time to think about it now that he was not worrying about the battle, killing the Emperor would not change anything. Another would take his place. Perhaps Zenobia. Perhaps the Speaker of the Rebel Council, and power would corrupt them too, and death would make grief. Grief would lead to hatred. He must lead by example. Reject the violence. Reject the desire to create violence. But how? Soon he'd confront the Emperor. Funny that this whole war had come about because the Emperor feared death. And now it was coming for him. There was some sort of lesson there, wasn't there?
That did it. So let's see how this plays out.
Finally, he came to the Emperor's ship. The path behind him was strewn with dead ravens. The path to enlightenment. His mistake, he realized, was trying to change the world. The world would spin and the wheel would revolve whether he strove against it or not. What he had to do was nothing. He had attained enlightenment. He sat down, adopted a full lotus position, and began to meditate. And all around him, the warriors stopped fighting too. They knew. They could feel his enlightenment. They gave up fighting, dropped their weapons, and became his disciples.
For real?
No, just kidding. The nearest raven stabbed
Darn
his
it.
sword and chopped off his head. I might not have thought this through properly. Thought Renato's head as it rolled around the deck and died.
Darn it.
But he'd learned another true thing. The Iblis Stone was evil. It would try to corrupt anyone who used it.
Right. Well, that means there's just one last truth to reveal. However, that is all the time we have, but I'm certain to discover the fourth truth next time. So, if you liked what you've seen, be sure to tune in next week, same time. Also be sure to check out my Twitter page, as well as turn on notifications so you know when the next stream is. And with all that said, this has been the end of a Monday. Hope you all have a good night.
There would be a way to win. Renato could feel it. He'd have to explore choices he'd never made before he could figure it all out, though. And with that, the book's pages fluttered to the beginning once again. And he fell.